Hello world, welcome to Python training. This is the part 2 of Python variables. So in our part 1 we have discussed about what are the Python variables, what are the different rules for naming the Python variables, and different ways in which we can assign the values to the variables. Now in this part I am going to explain about the inbuilt Python functions that can be applied on the variables. One of such functions is id. Basically, id function is Python's inbuilt function that returns the unique identifier of an object. And the number that it returns, it is of data type integer, which represents the memory address of the object. So in my previous video, I have explained that variable is a name given to memory location. So this is a memory location, let's say. And this memory location is basically used to store some value, let's say 30, and the name given to this particular memory location is variable, and this memory location will have some memory address. So id is the function which will return the memory address of the particular variable, and no two objects can have the same identifier. Let's see how does the id function works. So I have declared one variable a is equal to 50. If I will apply id function on this, and if I'll try to print the value, it will basically give me the memory address. So this is the memory address of this variable a. So id is basically used to return the memory address of a variable. Moving on to the next function. So next function is type. It basically returns the type of an object or the data type of the variable. Here in this particular screenshot, I have taken every data type of Python. So this one is integer, this one is bin, oct, hex, then this one is float, complex, boolean, string, this is list, this is tuple, this is set, this is dictionary, and the last one is none. So each of these data type is associated with some class, and the type basically returns that class in which that particular variable belongs. So the class of int variable is int, although bin, oct, hex belongs to integer, but when we print the type, it basically returns str. Str class is associated with data type string. Let me show you in the IDE also by running one or two examples. If I'll run the type of this variable a, it should return me int. You can see here it is printing me this particular thing. Let me take one more example. Let me try to give this as false. Boolean values starts with uppercase. In Java you can write false and true with lowercase, but in Python it will start with uppercase, so it should be F capital. And if I'll run this program, it is giving me the class as bool. Let me take one more example. So this is set data type. When I'll run this, it will give me class as set. Okay, one more thing I want to show here. So we have already seen id method, right? So a was 50, and when I was printing id of a, which will give me nothing but the memory address, it is returning me memory address. If I want to see data type of the memory address, what it is returning, so I will write type of id of a, so it will tell me the type of that memory address. As I told you, it is of type int. So let's try to run this program and validate this. So you can see type of the memory address is int. So this is a handy mind map that I have created, which represents the class that is returned by the type function. So one more thing, if I define variable as none, then the return type is none type. So if I define a equal to none, so it basically represents null value. So we cannot explicitly write value like this. It is not allowed in Python. So if we want to define anything as null in Python, so we have to give its value as none. So when I'll run this program, it will print class as none type. Next inbuilt Python function is isinstance. So isinstance function is used to check if the object belongs to a particular class. How does it work? Let's see. Okay, let me define a variable a, and then I will be using isinstance. I have given the value as 5, and I want to check, okay, whether 5 is an instance of int class. That's how I'll write. So the return type of isinstance will be a boolean value. So a will contain boolean value. If I will print a, it will return me either true or false. So if 5 will be instance of int class, the output will be true. If it is not, then the output will be false. Let's run the program. So it is printing true. Instead of int, if I'll write float, then the output will be false. This is the very simple usage of isinstance function. Now let's see another usage. So I can give tuple of values also like this. what it means is that it will check if 5 is an instant of any of these value which is defined in this tuple. So if any of these type is matched, it will return me true. So if I run this program, it will give the output as true. Now let's see what does it return. So I'm checking, is Python instance of any of these two classes? No, right? So the return value will be false. It is printing false. So this is how isinstance work. Next topic is none keyword, which we have already covered. So none keyword is basically used to define null value or null object in Python. And it is not same as empty string or a false or a zero. So you have to remember this. This is a very important point. It does not denote an empty string, a false value, or a zero value. So this is about the variables in Python, which we have covered in 2 videos.